This round yellow sign tells you a message every time you see it. 300 feet ahead, you will be approaching a railroad crossing. And even the pavement markings resemble the sign in itself, letting you know that you are approaching a railroad crossing. A railroad crossing is any intersection between the road and the rails. Some are protected by crossbucks, some with lights and bells, and what you see mainly today are protected by fully automatic crossing signals. Lights, gates and gate mechanisms, bells in which many are electronic instead of mechanical, and crossbucks. These devices are putting on a mask so they all can give you a warning of an oncoming train. But if you fail to take heed of the warnings given by these signals, you can ultimately have a monstrous death heading towards you. Railroads run America. Over 80% of what could have been on the highway is transported via rail. The railroad is a never-ending industry, just like coffee. Without it, America would collapse. Trains are big, heavy, and can move at very fast speeds. This freight train that you see here is about 12,000 feet long and traveling at about 45 miles per hour. For this train to stop, it would need about 1.5 miles or more to stop. Now, factors do contribute into how long and how far a train has to stop. Like, how many locomotives does this train have leading it? This one has 2. The type of motive power. This one has 2 SD70M-2 units leading. But you also gotta tie in, how long is the train? Is it 12,000 feet like this one? Is it 8,000 feet? Or is it shorter? You also gotta punch in, how much weight is it carrying? Is it carrying full intermodal freight like this one? Or is it carrying empty cars? And also, how fast is it going? Is it going 45 miles an hour like this one? Is it going faster? Or is it going slower? Since railroads play a huge role in today's economy, safety is always a must, and always will be enforced. So every railroad has to take on safety, because safety is the number one priority. Since safety is the number one priority, this limits down on lawsuits, derailments, and other accidents. So let me take the time to explain to you what you should do and what you should not do. Do not stop on tracks. Do not stop on the tracks, regardless of what you're doing. Now, if your car does stall on the tracks, push your car off the tracks. So, if a train's coming, the train will not hit you. If it is impossible to get your vehicle off the tracks and a train is coming, stand as far away from the vehicle and the tracks as possible. So when the train hits your vehicle, the chances of you getting hit with debris is reduced. 15 feet is a minimal distance that you can have between yourself and the nearest railhead. As you can see, that orange Mustang really doesn't care about his stopping distance at all. So if the gate came down, his car would have been hit and he would have been mad. So always stop at the white line for your safety. As a child, you probably have walked on the railroad at least once, twice, or more in your life. But the older you got, the more serious you became about railroad safety. And some haven't. That's a shame. Anywhere past this sign saying no trespassing, you are illegally on railroad property. The fact is, if you do not work for them, do not trespass on the railroad. It's an industry that doesn't have a fence around it. This is a switch here on the Florida East Coast Railway at milepost 214.9 in Sebastian, Florida. Remember, trespassing is illegal, so walking across a switch is very dangerous. The switch can move points, thus trapping your foot between the rails. Since the dispatcher cannot see you, if the crew sees you of the train that is coming, it will already be too late to stop. Always cross the tracks at a railroad crossing. That way, these signals can warn you of an oncoming train. So remember, do not cross the tracks at a switch or an area in where there is no railroad crossing present. Let these signals warn you of an oncoming train, so you and others can be safe. Remember, trespassing is a crime, and if you get caught, then you could get fined. Hey, that rhymed. When the bells start ringing, lights start flashing, and the gates begin to lower, stop. This is your first warning before the train starts blowing its horn. If you're at a quiet zone, this is the only warning you get. It is illegal to go under, over, or around closed gates. Many people today, especially teens, play chicken with a train. Remember, this is illegal. This is trespassing. So always remember, never play chicken with a train. It could cost you your life. Never make the railroad your death sentence. It's a horrible way to die. It would not only hurt your family, your friends, and the people that knew you, but it'll also traumatize the crew. Investigations can take up to 2 hours or more, stalling traffic, but not only that, stalling the train to where it needs to go. So never, ever make the railroad an excuse to kill yourself. Never pass a vehicle 100 feet from a grade crossing. That's pretty dangerous. A grade crossing is another term for railroad crossing. Never race a train to the tracks, and here's why. There's 2 parts. If you see this train here, and you saw it down the railroad, would you be able to tell how fast it was going or how slow it was going? No, not really. We know it's going slow now because it's up close to us, but from far away, would you be able to tell if it was going fast or slow? No, because our eyes play an illusion on us. And with big objects, they appear to be going slow. But could you really judge how fast or how slow it's going? No. Many people want to pace a train to a railroad crossing. And here's why. They feel like they don't even have the patience to wait 2 to 3 minutes or even 4 minutes at a railroad crossing. So what they do is they match speeds with the train, or they go a little bit faster than the train itself. And when they come up to a railroad crossing, either if the lights are blinking or it's just a crossbuck or the gates are down, they would do anything that they can in order to beat that train to the crossing. Some people win, many people lose. Why? Because our eyes misjudge the speed of a train. You might be clocking about 60 miles an hour with the train, but the train itself could be doing 65. So, always remember never to pace a train to a railroad crossing. What are you going to do? Are you going to risk your life to beat a train to a railroad crossing? Or are you going to wait and be safe? If there are multiple tracks, wait until the first train passes by. If the signals deactivate, you are free to go. But if they do not, wait. There could be a second train coming. So, when you're at a crossing that has multiple tracks crossing it, wait until the first train passes by. And if you do not take heed of the warnings that the signals are giving you, and you just think, oh, that's just the only train, it could be the second, third, or fourth train that could clip you. So always remember, if a first train passes by at a multiple track railroad crossing, and the gates or the signals stay on, obey them and wait. It's the safest thing to do. Never shift gears on a railroad crossing or downshift before you reach it. If the gates aren't going down or the bells aren't ringing or the lights aren't blinking, it doesn't always mean that the coast is always clear. Think safety. Whenever approaching a railroad crossing, do these 4 steps that I'm about to perform to you right now. First one, stop. The second one, look. Look both ways before crossing the railroad tracks. It's like looking both ways before crossing the street. The third one, listen. Do you hear a train horn? Do you hear crossing bells ringing in the distance? Your eyes and your ears are your most important organs, and you must use them when crossing the railroad tracks. And the fourth one, live. Go on about your day. So, it doesn't matter how much you know about them, or how many times you see them. They do give you the warning of an oncoming train, so you should obey them. Stop, look, listen, and live. 4 easy steps. You have yourself a wonderful day. It's BBT 609, here about railroad safety. I hope you enjoyed the video.